Hello everyone, it's Alan Palange with ProScript Media and Advertising. Thanks very much for taking the time to watch this brief video tutorial about page one listings on Google, which are guaranteed. My name is Alan Palange, one of the principals of ProScript Media. ProScript Media offers a number of services. ProScript Media's menu of services include page one video listings on Google, which are guaranteed, mobile websites, traditional websites, paid advertising on Google, also known as PPC, website promotion for guaranteed page one placement, and SMS communication text services. At ProScript, we like to keep it simple, and we have a very dedicated methodology to our sales approach. The first thing we approach every client with is the potential to have a listing or listings on page one of Google, which in a moment you'll better understand. From there, we look to upsell the client potentially a mobile website or a website that we can get on page one of Google, a single web page within our local directory, which we also guarantee for page one Google, Yahoo, or Bing, SMS text marketing. We also offer commercial voice broadcasting services, automated messages that go out to other business people, and of course mobile applications. ProScript is a certified Apple and Android application developer. By making a client an offer they almost cannot refuse, we are certain to become a trusted vendor, which is the magic and secret to all that we do. This will open up the door for further opportunities. This is part of the reason we initially offer each and every client a guarantee for page one placement with no money paid upfront by the client, until which time we are successful. ProScript is the only company in the world that makes this offer. There are no other companies that make this offer to potential clients. We will develop a 45 to 60 second video testimonial or commercial with no upfront fee. Now, each client will need to sign an agreement, and we will authorize their credit card for $1, which we return 72 hours later. We need to make sure we have a valid credit card on file. The client will only pay when the listing or listings appear on page one of Google. ProScript has script writers that will do all of the work to perform the testimonial or video commercial. Video is produced and live within 4 business days of the initial order. Page one placement typically takes a total of 7 to 14 days, but normally it's closer to 7 to have page one placement on Google for 1, 2, or 3 search terms. The client only pays monthly if the listings remain on page one Google. Now, once we have the listing on page one Google, we will continue to promote that video and market that video, and we will keep it on page one of Google. Each listing campaign is specific to one city per search term. So if you have a client that signs up for 3 search terms in which to appear on page one of Google, that could be 1 search term for each individual city. So one campaign could represent 3 cities. And of course, it's a month-to-month contract. The client may cancel at any time. Now, when pitching a client, I would never say you can cancel at any time if you're unhappy. Never plant a negative seed. You, however, can say this is a month-to-month contract, but do not say you can cancel if you're unhappy. Do not plant a negative seed. Can you sell page one listings without any technical knowledge? Most certainly. Clients really don't care what goes on behind the scenes, how we make it happen. What they do care about is how much it will cost, how long it will take, and how they will benefit. This presentation is structured to answer each of those questions. Our page one listing guaranteed service and prices are as it appears. One listing for page one of Google is a $149 setup fee, $79 a month. Two listings, $99 a month. Three listings, $149 a month. Our most popular product is the three listing page one Google. So the manner in which we pitch this is you will not pay your monthly fee until which time you're on page one of Google. At that point, it's $149 a month to maintain that listing or listings on page one of Google. How exactly will your client benefit from page one placement? I tell people to think of their own habits and how they search for what they desire on the internet, whether you're doing it on a mobile device or on a desktop computer. 70% of all local searches are done on a mobile device for a local business. Being found on page one of Google will get you exposure in front of those potential clients searching for your product or service. Reach your potential buyer at the exact moment they need your product or service. So they need a plumber, they go to Google, they type in plumbing repair, up comes your listing, they dial the number, you now have a new lead and in all likelihood a new prospect that you'll be doing business with. Think of Google as the modern day Yellow Pages, the old print edition of the Yellow Pages. Think of your own habits and how you search online for what you desire. Google owns 85% of the search engine market. Most searches start and finish on page one of Google. Page two placement or higher will not gain the client any exposure. It's all about page one placement. Now, our guarantee is for page one placement on Google. Many times, if not all the time, they will also have listings on Yahoo and Bing. But at the end of the day, Google is the most important search engine in the United States. This is what a normal page of results look like on Google. Nothing really jumps out at you, and most searchers would click on the first three listings. Human nature is we start top to bottom, left to right. So as you can imagine, on this particular page, nothing is special. What do you recall from the prior slide? Really nothing other than seeing a bunch of listings on page one. According to Google, the first three listings get most of the traffic. As I mentioned, human nature, the eye scan top to bottom, left to right. Each page of Google results can have up to 24 listings, which I'll show you in a moment. That's a combination between the 10 center listings on the page, sometimes Google Maps or Places, the items with the red dots, and then paid advertising, oftentimes on the right side of the page and on the top and on the bottom. It could be a very crowded space. If the phone number is in the listing title, potential clients are more likely to call than click the link. And according to Google, that's at least 50% of the time. How do you stand out in the crowd? I know it all looked the same. The prior page reflected normal listings on Google. Nothing jumps off the page. This is why most people click on the first three listings of the page. Now, look at the next page and see the difference. Immediately, what pulls your eye is the image on the screen. So regardless of where that listing may appear between slot number 1 or 10, the image will draw your attention immediately. And as you notice, the phone number of our client is in the title of the listing. If you were on a smartphone, you'd be able to most often click that phone number to make a call. Or on a desktop, you would see the most convenient thing is the phone number in the title. So rather than having to click all these various websites to find a phone number, maybe you just have a quick question about a quote, in this case as it pertains to asphalt paving. You just dial the number. Google page one placement with an image, the image makes all of the difference. The end result is 70% of local searches are performed on a smartphone. Most mobile users will just click the number to dial the business. Professional video, testimonial, and commercials are powerful. And our client does not pay until we have the proper listings on page one of Google. What a pitch. Our page one listing jumps off the page. What a difference an image can make. All of our page one video listings will have the image to the left of the listing. The eye is automatically drawn to the listing. The phone number is in the title of the listing. Desktop users are most likely to just dial the number, while most mobile users can click the number to call. Like selling anything, selling internet marketing and promotion requires a certain level of trust between you and the client. But this goes with any sale. Ask your client if they understand the benefits of page one Google placement. Remember, they pay nothing until which time they appear on page one. ProScript has taken the risk out of internet marketing. And of course, there is a value purely in the video testimonial or commercial. But in the end, it's all about having exposure on page one of Google, and through that exposure, generating phone calls. In today's world, it's almost impossible to perform any level of marketing for $149 a month. I mean, let's face it, $149 does not buy that much, especially in marketing. And the return on investment on page one Google will far outpace any other form of advertising dollar for dollar. That is a fact. So why would anyone not want page one placement? Many times, it's because they do not understand exactly what your offer is. It must be spelled out very clearly. Not everyone understands the benefit, believe it or not, of being on page one of Google. If they don't understand the benefit of being on page one of Google, you can never sell this product. Again, it's all about the image jumping off the page. Make sure your client understands this is not paid advertising through Google. They do not pay per click, and they do not pay per phone call. The image and listing that appears on page one of Google will always have the client's phone number detailed in the listing. Most people searching for local businesses on Google are really after the phone number of a company they can call. And again, I ask you, think of your own habits and ask your client to think of their habits. Our listing brings the phone number front and center. If the client is on a mobile device, they can just click the number to dial most of the time. For those searching on a desktop computer, they will simply just dial the number on the screen. But keep in mind, for every one search performed on a desktop computer, 4 searches are performed on a smartphone. Where do objections come from? Well, objections come many times from a lack of understanding, or they just plainly don't trust or like you. So objections are roadblocks put in front of you as a salesperson, not allowing you to move down the road. I personally love objections, and I treat objections as an opportunity to resell the client. So anytime I receive an objection, I will rephrase the objection and ask the client if I understand what their objection is, and then I will overcome the objection. And by rephrasing it and asking the client if you understand them properly, you will make sure that you understand the objection properly before answering, and it gives you a moment to reflect on what your answer should be. If the client does not trust you, then you've got to do something to better build a relationship with that client. You have to remember that you are the face and the voice of ProScript Media. It is you that they will trust. Now, of course, you could easily ask them to text the word BBB to 63975, and they can get a link to our BBB listing immediately text to them. Maybe the client does not understand what you're pitching, and if they don't understand it, they certainly will not buy. They need to understand the importance of having exposure on page one of Google, and how that ultimately, through that exposure, will gain them additional business. Maybe the client just does not understand what the benefits are. And at the end of the day, the benefits are additional phone calls that come in to that merchant that they potentially will sell and add revenue and sales to their overall business. I mean, that's really what it's all about. This is the only reason anybody ever advertised in the Yellow Pages, is they wanted phone calls to do additional business. The client sees no problem, therefore does not need your solution. So if the client doesn't see that they're lacking exposure online, then why would they want to do anything to better their situation? They've got to see the problem before they'll buy your solution. And I'll go over a few of these potential solution solvers in just a moment. The client just does not understand the value of your proposition. So as an example, somebody, and they don't understand how getting an additional 5 or 10 clients a month, whatever the case may be, will add to their overall sales and will be a great return on the investment of only $149 a month. And you may need to break that down for the client. Now here are some common objections. I'm already on page 1 of Google. Well, I love this one. And I say, okay, that's great. And it's also like saying I have one form of advertising and I desire no other advertising to increase my sales. I mean, that's like telling me that I ran an ad in a local paper and I will do no other type of advertising because I've already done some form of advertising. So like with any marketing or promotion or advertising, as long as that advertising can represent results for the merchant, then it continues to make sense to continue expanding your advertising if you desire to grow your business. And most people do. Then I ask, what are you on page 1 of Google for? Right? Because they've told us I'm already on page 1 of Google. Well, that's great, but what are you on page 1 for? And most of them are going to tell you, well, when you type my company name, I'm on page 1. Well, being on page 1 of Google for your company name is only of consequence to those clients that already know you exist and what your company name is. But what about that whole universe of new potential clients that are searching every day looking for your service or product, and you never come up on page 1, 2, 3, or whatever of Google? You're missing a whole potential universe of clients that are searching for you. ProScript will expose our clients to those people looking for their product or service. These people would not know you exist if it were not for your Google exposure based on the proper search terms. Certainly not your company name. Another objection is it's far too expensive. I love this one. I always say too expensive compared to what? Any form of advertising carries a cost. What's most important is the return you get on that investment. So if I said to you, I'm going to spend $1,000 a month and I'll get 5 phone calls, and my average ticket or my average sales price of a job I do is $500, it really would not make sense. But if I said my average ticket or sale is $500 and I'm going to spend $149 a month, and I'll maybe get 5 sales, well, then the return on investment is astronomical. In business, we always say that the gross sale and the cost of the advertising, the cost of acquiring the new client, should never really exceed 10%. And that's a good rule of thumb. So at the end of the day, if I was able to get 5 new clients and it represented $2,500 in new sales, I would budget up to $250 to produce those sales. So anything under 10% is truly a gift. And you really have to keep in mind, most small business people waste so much money on ineffective advertising. It's really a shame. No other media company in the world will build you a video commercial or testimonial and not charge you a penny up front. They will also not guarantee page one placement on Google. When you think about it, what do you have to lose? When you arrive on page one of Google, we both understand that the client will get exposure and activity. With our offer, the client has nothing to risk. Or the client may say, but the campaign is only for one city. Now this would be true if they picked a campaign with only one listing. But if they're picking a campaign for $149, we offer 3 listings on page one of Google. Each listing may represent a different city. So as an example, if we had a client that wanted to be on page one for 3 listings and wanted one search term specific for West Palm Beach, one specific for Palm Beach Gardens, and one specific for Boca Raton, that would be fine, and that's included in the $149. If your client later wishes to add additional cities, you can always purchase additional or in another package. Once the client is a paying client, we offer special discounts for additional listings. The client may say, well, how will I know I'll get any phone calls? Well, as I'm sure you're aware, Google is the largest search engine in the world. They hold 85%, possibly now up to 88%, of search engine activity. What this means is most people that are searching on Google. But again, remember, our listings will come up on Yahoo and Bing as well. And I would say to the client, you realize this, right? I mean, you have to make sure they realize that everybody is searching on Google. And you've really got to not move forward with any further of your pitch until you know they acknowledge that, yes, Google is where most people are searching. And hence, by having a listing on Google for a search term on page one, it will produce activity. The client may say, can you guarantee how many calls I'll get? No, I can't guarantee how many calls you may receive, but I can share with you what my other clients receive and what their experience is. For $149 a month, we would expect you to receive 10 to 15 calls monthly. However, I have clients that receive more. It's impossible for us to know. Now, honestly, even if a client received 10 phone calls in the course of the month and sold or did business with 3 to 5 of those clients, it's a home run. I mean, it's very inexpensive money for that type of advertising. I tell people it's no different than placing an ad in the local newspaper or any other form of advertising. Nobody will ever guarantee how many calls you will receive. We can, however, guarantee you will have a listing on page one of Google, and by virtue of that, I know you will be very happy. And you will understand after running the campaign that it far outproduces other forms of advertising at the same monthly budget. Imagine you took out an ad in the old print edition of the Yellow Pages. You would have a choice of placing a display ad within a certain category, say plumber or doctor. If you didn't place a display ad, you would have received a free one-line listing under your name. In the old days, we called that part of the phone book the white pages. People only went to the white pages when they knew or remembered the company name, but needed the phone number. Well, the same thing, that's the same analogy I mentioned a moment ago, that the only one that's typing in your company name are those people you've already done business with. We're looking to get new clients. And new clients don't know you exist, but they will know you exist once you're on page one of Google and you're getting some exposure. If you searched in the display ad section of the Yellow Pages, you did so by category. That's really the same thing as searching on Google, using a particular search phrase. And at the end of the day, if I search plumber West Palm Beach, I'm certainly not doing that for fun. I'm doing that because I need a plumber at this given moment. For a very reasonable fee, we provide the following package. People need to think of this as no different than any other type of advertising or marketing campaign. We build a custom video testimonial commercial. We use paid actors. We write the script for all videos. We produce a 45 to 60 second video commercial or testimonial. Guaranteed insertion in the Google Maps if the client has not already claimed their listing. There's no setup fee, and the client does not pay until they're on page 1 of Google. The client can take ownership of the video after 6 monthly payments. However, the contract is a month-to-month contract. All campaigns are local to a specific city for each keyword or search term. And when talking with a client, never use the phraseology keyword. Use the phraseology search term. We also will give our clients insertion into our very popular local business directory, which is mylocalbusinesslisting.com. And many times, this will get them on page 1 as well. This is our local directory and what it looks like. So what exactly is an organic result? An organic result are those results that Google pulls up based on its own indexing and what we call an algorithm. The pay-per-click ads that you see on the top and on the right side are people that are actually paying Google to be on page 1 of Google. Now, these paid ads can be very expensive. To click an ad could cost anywhere from $3 to $7. If you're a PI, a personal injury attorney, you could be paying $50 a click. And it may take 3 to 5 clicks to even get one phone call. So for $149 in page 1 placement, it is certainly of great value. We put our clients on page 1 of Google in the organic section. This is not paid advertising. What should my client expect? It really depends on the monthly budget. If a client is spending $149, as I've mentioned, they should get around 10 or 15 calls monthly. The more cities or the more search terms they have, potentially the more phone calls they'll receive. Client's Google Maps listing. Did you know that 48% of all businesses have not claimed their Google Maps listing, is illustrated on the right-hand side of your screen? That's what Google Maps look like. Google Maps can be an important part of our marketing campaign. It is vital that our clients work with us to assure they have a presence on Google Maps. This sometimes can double or triple somebody's phone calls, and we don't charge extra for the insertion of Google Maps. It's all about local, local, local. The more Google matures, the more you will see local results when searching for just about anything. Google Maps typically returns results that are very local in nature and typical of those businesses in your local area that you would drive to right around your corner. Again, this is our pricing for guaranteed page 1 placement on Google. Most cities and business types will have page 1 Google placement within 7 days. Video production time is 3 business days and delivered to the client typically on the 4th business day. We immediately start promoting the video post-production and insert our client within the first 3 days into our local business directory. New client acquisition. How will our client benefit? Most small businesses grow by proper advertising and having the right location. Page 1 Google provides one of the most cost-effective ROIs more than any other form of advertising. The longer we promote the business and market the video, the better the results the client will achieve. Initially, they may only have 3 results on page 1 or 3 listings. 6 months from now, that could be up to 9 listings. ProScript Media currently manages hundreds of page 1 listings around the United States, most of which are on page 1 of Google. One of the most difficult search terms, as you can imagine, is SEO companies. Try the following search, such as SEO company Hawaii, and you'll see ProScript and our sister company, GoalClicks, on page 1. Or try SEO Company Montana, local SEO Company Los Angeles, and I could go on and on. By having these on page 1 of Google certainly proves that our ability in their local city with their local campaign, rather than a national campaign such as SEO Company, we easily will get them on page 1 and keep them there. Or if you want to try local search, search Google for the following search term: asphalt paving Fort Worth, and you will see our listing, and that is the URL, fortworthasphaltpaving.com, which is a ProScript client of 2 years. On the bottom of each of our websites or in our listings on the Google listings for video, you will always see a notation of either GoalClicks or ProScript, strict proof that it is our work product that they're viewing. Again, my name is Alan Palange. I welcome you to ProScript. I hope this video tutorial has been useful. I hope you truly understand the value of page 1 placement on Google and the ultimate value of offering such a guarantee with no money up front, until which time we've proven our success. Also keep in mind, ProScript Media is an A-rated company with the Better Business Bureau, accredited for some 5 years. And also keep in mind, our number 1 objective is selling the video listing placement, Google listings, page 1, and then subsequently going back to our clients with an offering of either a mobile website or maybe website promotion or a number of other services that ProScript offers. Again, my name is Alan Palange, and I thank you very much for joining me on today's video.